Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Paul Brown Show. This evening, I have two special guests. I have the First Lady and I have Bishop Dr. Melvin Rivers. How y'all doing?
Thank you for having us on the show tonight.
No, sir. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Dr. Rivers, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, it was hard for me to finish my education because I came from a very poor background, and I didn't have anybody that really explained the financial obligations or how to finish my education. So I found it kind of hard to fund my education when I wanted to finish at an early age. So I became a professional chef, and I traveled around. I learned a valuable skill. I went on television about 2 or 3 times, and then I got at the age of 40 years old, and I knew that I wanted to go back to school. So I went to Bible college. I went to Beulah Heights Bible College, and I got a degree in biblical education, and then I went to DeVry University. I have a bachelor's in technical management. I finished at Keller Graduate School with an MBA, and in 2014, I finished with my doctorate degree in business. So it took me about 40 years to get it done.
But you did it. You did it. You did it. Yeah. First Lady, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, basically, so far as my education, I have a master's in library science. I was able to finish that in library science, and I was working in that field. And when I met the bishop, I was working in that field, and I was working in a public library for the Los Angeles Public Library System. So that's basically what my education is about.
Okay, great. What made y'all decide to move to Charlotte?
Well, wait a minute. The first thing, since I got her on TV, I'm gonna make her tell the truth. Okay, so I went in the library, and she was behind the desk.
Yes, sir.
And I asked her to help me with my resume, and I came in the library about 2 days later, and she said, "Hello, Melvin, how are you?" I said, "Oh, you remember my name?" And so I thought she liked me. You know. Well, okay, fast forward. So we got married about
3 days later.
about 3 years later, we got married, and we've been working together. She stayed with me while I finished my MBA and my doctorate degree.
Yes.
And when we after we had all that done, God gave us an assignment to come to Charlotte.
To put someone like this young lady into your life, how did it change you?
It actually changed my perspective because I never really believed that my success would be based on my wife. I always thought that my success would be based on my drive and my belief in God. And she made a believer out of me because I found out that there were some areas where I needed help, and she would watch me, and she would not enable me, but those things that I could not do, she helped me with it. I remember I had a very tough course in vivo software, and she used her library skills to help me get the book and find out how to do it, and we made it through that.
We made it through it, yes.
Why don't you talk about it?
No, well, basically, one thing the bishop has shown me is that when he has an assignment or when he wants to learn something, he figures out how to do it. And we actually worked together. Like I said, I was able to get him the book and I was able to support him, but he sat there and he studied and he figured out how to work that in vivo, which is a very difficult software to work, but he was able to learn and to put it into practice, and it benefited him in his dissertation.
First Lady, what was it about the bishop when you first saw him and met him that made you think this was going to be the one?
His honesty, his goals, the fact that he had worked on himself and he knew what he wanted, and he had a purpose. And I am purpose-driven as well, so we put those two together and we helped each other to go after our goals and to use that being purpose-driven to help us to be successful in getting our goals accomplished.
Now, Bishop, they always say behind every good man, there's a good woman. Why are you so blessed to have this young lady as your partner?
Well, I can honestly say that I had worked on myself and made the corrections, the necessary corrections in my personal life and in my character, increased the level of my integrity, you know, just learn to be honest with people. Yes. And I found out that one of the things that drew her to me was the fact that I showed her my wounds.
Okay.
Yes.
I showed her the areas where I were vulnerable, and it didn't cause her to run away.
Correct.
And so, and also I knew how to receive a good woman.
Correct.
You know.
Yes, sir.
I knew that when the telephone rings, you have to answer that telephone.
Yes, sir.
It does not make a difference where you are. You must pick up that telephone and say, hello, I'm in the grocery store.
Correct.
What do you want? You know? And so I learned to be where I'm supposed to be.
Yes, sir.
And I also learned that under no circumstances should I try to disassociate her from any area of my life.
Amen.
There is no area in my life where she is not allowed. Now, I try to keep her out of my office, but that does not work. So other than that,
You're right.
we working with each other.
Yes, sir.
Right.
What brought y'all to Charlotte? I know First Lady said y'all were in L.A.
Right.
What brought you to Charlotte?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was upstairs in my office and we wanted to purchase some new property. We couldn't find anything in Los Angeles, and I just Googled new homes in Charlotte.
Yes.
And when I saw what I could get here in Charlotte, I yelled across, I said, Z, come and look at the new house, we're moving. And so she came in my office and we saw the house. About 3 weeks later, we flew down here.
Okay.
We put the money on the house. And in April of 2016, we moved in.
April 2016.
We moved down here in July of 2015, and we watched them build a house.
Okay.
And we inspected the house as it went along. And while we were doing that, we also started the necessary paperwork for the church.
Yes, sir.
Now, one of the things that I want to say is that the whole process was really God ordained.
Amen.
Because, you know, we're just not that smart.
No, we're not.
You know, some of the things that fell right in place.
Yes, sir.
The kairos timing of God. I mean, it's like when you realize that you are in your flow, then you just go along with the program and you let things happen, but you make sure that you're responsible for the things you have to be responsible for.
The paraclete evangelistic ministry.
Yes.
Tell the audience a little bit about your ministry.
Well, the name Paraclete is the Greek name for the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
He is our advocate, our counselor, the one who walks alongside of us. And we chose the word evangelistic because that's one of our core beliefs, that we must evangelize. And of course, we're our ministry. So what we focus on evangelism, discipleship, and service. So if you are a member of the church, you know and you understand that this is what we're about. And I want to bring my wife in on the conversation because you helped me develop the areas, the relationships here in Charlotte. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, we've developed one of the ways that we do our service as well as our evangelism is to partner with various organizations here in Charlotte. Like we partner with the Florence Crittenden Services. They provide services for homeless pregnant girls. We also help the Urban Ministry Center, and they feed the homeless on a daily basis. And then we also go to the Charlotte Rescue Mission and speak to the men in the Rebound Program. So that's how we evangelize, that's how we offer service to the community.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a brief break and we'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Bishop M.J. Rivers, and I'm here with my wife, the Reverend Zakiya Rivers. And we would like to invite you to a live worship service. The church is located at 3815 North Tryon Street in the Conference Center. The service time is every Sunday at 11 a.m.
We hope to see you there.
God bless you and be encouraged.
Welcome back to the show. I have First Lady and Bishop Rivers. First Lady, I know you mentioned a lot of the programs that your ministry deals with. How does that make you feel that you're having an impact in the people's lives?
Well, it makes me feel good. It makes that we're purpose-driven. We're staying in line with our mission to evangelize and to provide service to the community and to really help people stabilize their lives, to not be homeless anymore, to be able to get the kind of help and training that helps to rebuild their lives so that they can be viable human beings.
Bishop Rivers, the awesome ministry that you have, I know it has to, that humility that you have to have, knowing that you are impacting the lives of a lot of people in our community. How does that make you feel?
Well, you're right. It is a humbling experience when you see God is working through you to reach people. And I have to pray.
Yes, sir.
I have to pray, and I have to ask God, what is the message that is supposed to be spoken? And a lot of times, more times than often, the people come and they tell me, they say, well, how did you know that that's what I was going through? And so we're all messengers. You know, when I went to Bible college, they told me that there was only one message and several applications. And so God is not schizophrenic. God said the same thing yesterday, he means it today, and he'll mean the same thing tomorrow. But we can apply the Word of God in every area of our life, and the application might not be the same, but the principle is the same. The message is the same. So you can give a general message to a lot of people, but they need to apply it in different areas of their life, so the specific message that they get is tailored just for them.
Bishop Rivers, as that bishop, I'm not sure whether you are an emotional individual, but describe that one instance whereas it made you really emotional knowing that it was God.
We were at the Charlotte Rescue Mission, and we had a real high praise. We had a wonderful time in the Lord, and I gave the altar call, and over 40 men, they rushed the pulpit. They were down on their knees. They were crying out to God. And anytime I go out in the field, I bring members of the church because I want them to have that experience of evangelizing. And everybody was humbled, and I knew it was God. And then I began to look at myself as if to say, wow, really? You use me? So you begin to feel like you're not worthy. And that's where the humility is.
Yes, sir. First Lady, when you're dealing with the congregation, and you are able to help that special young lady, or even that needs that words of encouragement, how does that make you feel?
Well, I would have to piggyback off of what the bishop says. It is humbling. It is also seeing that it works. What you believe in works and can help affect people's lives. And for me, that's a wonderful, humbling experience.
The two of you have been chosen by God to make an impact on the lives of a lot of individuals. That's a real hard thing to really, how do you handle that?
Well,
You know,
I'm glad you said it, because the first thing I did, Paul, when we built the house, I said, well, my office is up front, and hers is right next to mine, and so what I did, I said, what type of office furniture you want? And so she told me, and I bought her some real nice furniture. I said, now you got to work. And she said, Bishop, I'm retired. I said, no, you work for me. And so we have, we have to laugh.
correct.
Yes.
You know, we have to enjoy ourselves. We have to, we have to know that, don't take it too seriously.
Correct.
You know, enjoy what we're doing. Don't see it as a burden. And you go to movies on Friday night. You know, you got to have your extracurricular activities. You know, don't be serious all the time. You know, you got to have me time. You know, we got our favorite restaurants that we like to go to. And recently, since we beginning to get stabilized here, then we're going to start branching out with we became members of the Charlotte. Why don't you talk about the Black Chamber of Commerce?
Well, recently we just became members. We have to get more involved with them, but we got involved with them with the intention of getting to know Charlotte even better, and getting to know where we can fit and how we can still maneuver even more within Charlotte and become more beneficial, and how Charlotte could help us as well, how getting to know Charlotte will help us in the direction and in what we're supposed to do.
Bishop Rivers, you're on the Access 21 Board of Directors. You're one of the Board of Directors. How does that make you feel, and what do you bring to the table as far as being on that board?
Well, when I saw they asked do you want to be on the board? I talked to my wife and I said, yes, I want to be on the board. And so I did what they asked me to do, submit the necessary information. And when I went to the interview, he asked me, what is my unique contribution? And I told him, I said, well, I have the project management skills. I know how to manage projects on time, on budget, with the right quality, paying attention to the critical path. I actually used to do a lot of leadership conferences for the Project Management Institute in Los Angeles. I just got a email last night that they want to fly me out to another conference in Los Angeles, and so that's what I bring to the board. But I also bring it to the church.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things that I know how God gifted me, he said, I want you to use everything that I put in you in every area of your life. So we just had the bishop's reception on Sunday, and I'm the caterer, and I'm the chauffeur, and I'm doing everything, you know.
Yes,
you know, I'm the webmaster. My wife does the research for me, and so we just stay in our lane.
Correct.
I work in the areas where I'm proficient, and I rely on her.
Yes.
We just shot a promo in the house, and she said, Bishop, I help you. I said, I know you help me. That's what you here for. So she said, I help you get that lighting right. You know?
Yes, sir.
And so we just work together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The two of you have a TV show at Access 21. Tell our audience a little bit about that outstanding program that you have.
Well, we have a television show on Monday nights called The Bishop is Speaking. We shoot it live at the church on Sunday, and sometime we come in the studio. And let me first say that Access Channel 21 is a wonderful community opportunity. I found that when I moved here to Charlotte, and we came down and we did everything that we needed to do to be certified. We actually became directors about a month ago. And so we focus on just putting the message out there that Jesus Christ is Lord, that he can give you the abundant life, but it's your responsibility to move and walk in faith.
What is it about the TV show? I know y'all directing now. What is it about this whole thing that excites y'all?
I really don't know what God is doing, but he sent us here to Access 21, and our eyes are open. We see the benefit of this place. I found myself elected to the board of directors. I don't know what God is doing, but my responsibility is to bloom wherever he plants me. So if it's through our television program where we get to speak to people here in Charlotte and let them know where we are, then we do that. If we come down and we help others produce a show, then we do that. If I'm at the board of directors and I bring a unique perspective as to what the producers need, then I'll do that. So I'm just showing up for life, and I really don't know what God is doing.
Bishop, First Lady, we got to take another break. So we want to hear more about your ministry in just a few minutes, but we want to take this break.
Okay.